Hey, 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 what's up, everybody? What's going on, y'all? Um, Welcome to episode 5. Is this 5?
Five. We got five on it.
So I think I put 4. I gotta go back in and change it. This is episode 5, y'all. We got 5 on it. So, what's up, everybody? Welcome to tonight's episode of Hits and Heels with Coach Terry Bryant and me, your girl, Dani. We are so excited to have y'all back in action with us again tonight. Um, Coach Terry, what's up, girl?
Girl, I'm still at practice. We are live. Look, we're going over defense, offense. We putting some stuff in place. Right. So it's dark out here. We got the lights on. We're underneath the lights. Yeah. We're trying to get it. We're trying to get it in. We're trying to get it in. We're trying to get it in. So y'all know I am and the wide receiver and the running backs coach for the Derby City Dynamite. And we are out here practicing right now. So again, I'm outside of the home studio, so I apologize because I'll probably be getting in the car here pretty soon, and you just gonna have to hold us down, sis. While I totally apologize, but I appreciate you for holding it down for us. Because we got some things
Yes,
to talk about today, girl. We got to talk about that whole Deion Sanders and Coach Robinson issue and some things like that. And and I know you always got a great teaching moment for us today. So let me know what you got for us, and I'm gonna go mute for a second.
all right. So, like Coach Terry said tonight, we definitely want to dive into this Deion Sanders and Coach Eddie Robinson Jr. I, it's a situation, but it's to me, it's a non-situation. So, for those of you that don't know, so let me back up because after we talk about the Eddie Robinson and Deion Sanders situation, we are also going to talk about Coach Terry's team because we have not discussed the fabulousness of Coach Terry Bryant. Now, I know I'm biased because that's my girl, right? That's my big sister for real. But yeah, this woman is like a genius football coach. And so I want her to today's educational moment is going to be from Coach Terry about and I'm totally putting her on the spot. I've totally pivoted because she's at practice now. And so that just like totally made me pivot on what the educational moment was going to be. I'm not doing mine. We're going to do Coach Terry Bryant, and she's going to talk about the importance of women, not just as coaches, but women in the sport of football and what we can learn collectively and individually, and how football is a sport that teaches in all aspects of life. And why it's so important for women to understand the game, because when you yelling for your baby, you want to be yelling the right stuff. And you want to be able to yell at the ref and say, that's a hold, that's a block in the back, you know. So it's more than just screaming when they score a touchdown or they get an interception or they make a great tackle. And so I want Coach Terry to share her story about how she got to where she is and the importance of women in the sport and how the future of football is female. So, how about them apples?
How about them apples? Listen, so please forgive me if it's a lot of background noise because I am at practice and doing this live while my team is practicing, and they are off the chain. So you might hear some explicitives and some other stuff, that, some other grown folks words that crazy, right? So listen, I think it's just funny how, I've always been into sports. I always tell people that sports saved my life. I had one of them childhoods that was very questionable, that was very challenging. And because I early on I was able to find some gifts in sports by participating in field day and stuff like that, that I fell in love with sports because it gave me an outlet that I probably wouldn't have had any other way, right? And so I remember playing football in the backyard with my cousins, and I took it and I caught the ball in the end zone, and I flipped over and all that type of stuff, and it was like a rush. Okay, like I'm not a drug person, but I'm thinking that that's maybe what it kind of felt like to feel high, right? But I've never done drugs, so I don't know what that feels like. I'm just guessing, right? So but then what I learned was that women don't play football at that time. I was like, okay, so we don't play football. So we only have certain sports that we can play. Okay, now fast forward playing volleyball and softball and running track and I was a great basketball player. I was an all-state in basketball and track, and I was really, really good in softball. So I love actually really good in bowling because we was on a bowling league. So I'm really, really good at those sports. I can pick up a ball at any time, and I can probably knock out 8 out of 10 free throws even now at the age of 52 without touching a ball in months, because it's just second nature to me, right? And so my travels over the years allowed me to continue to play competitively overseas in Germany with the military teams, and I played those three sports competitively over in Germany, and tore my ACL, actually both of them. Still played with torn ACLs because I just love the game that much, and so once I got the injury, that's how I kind of got thrown into the coaching because I kind of got um, became like a player coach. So I coached the volleyball team with a brace on and played basketball with a brace on from my ACL surgery. And then from there, I think I kind of got the bug of coaching. So then I worked in corporate America, and then I was volunteering at my daughter's school when she was in middle school. I was on the SBDM, and
All right. Looks like Coach Terry froze up for a second there. So
oh yeah,
she is at practice. So if she
yeah,
freezes up, just
I,
expect to hear back from me.
yeah, okay. So, so anyway, um, oh, it's loud here. Sorry. So we we got the once I got the call from my daughter's principal that we've got this job that I think's got your name written all over it. I think you should apply for it. So I applied for it, went through the interview process, and I got it. So 2 weeks, I think, before girls basketball season started, the girls basketball coach quit. So of course they really didn't have anybody. So I asked for it. And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Can I have it?" And she gave it to me. So our first year I took over as girls basketball coach, didn't know what the heck I was doing. And as far as like putting a practice together and that type of stuff. Plus they were middle schoolers. So I was used to coaching women that already knew how to play the game. So then that's when I um, had to develop players, had to teach them the game from A to B, A to Z. And it kind of just been history since that point. Then from there, I started coaching track. So my second year into coaching basketball, we go undefeated and win a championship. It's the craziest thing. The next year, we go undefeated, lose in a championship game. And so, and then from there, and I coached maybe another 7 years from there. with some success. Then in between there, I was coaching track. We won two boys state championship track championships. We broke multiple state records for
Mm-hmm.
our school. If you go to a track meet right now, you'll hear the current record, and we hold most of the relay records for the whole state for middle school. Now, I was working in the school system, and I got hit with a chair by somebody's child, and I was done. I didn't care about coaching. I didn't care about none of that. I was done. So I went back to a regular job, and 8 years later, my husband was like, look, I think I'm going to go coach middle school because I no longer want to coach high school because I want to be able to watch our son play. I said, okay, well, go for it. Well, he comes home and he's like, okay, well, I got the head coaching job at Crawford Middle School and I made you my assistant head coach. It's like, do what, boy? Right. So I was floored because I was like, okay. And I was like, well, why did you do that? Because there are a whole lot of guys, of course, guys that are
Right.
way more, you know, experienced than I was as far as coaching football. And plus, everybody always thinks if you don't play the game, it's harder to coach the game because you didn't actually play the game. So I was
Yeah.
working out that feedback from people about well, she don't play the game, so how she's able to know it, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those critics when it came to like basketball coaches. I know there was some college basketball coaches that were coaching and they never even played the game. And so I was like, well, how can that be when you don't, you just
Right.
understand a different perspective from the game by being an actual player.
Right.
So I heard about those type of comments and worried about people think. Now, if you know my personality, I'm a type A personality, and I'm one of them people that, I really don't care about what people think. But I'm not gonna lie, I was very self-conscious when he asked me to coach football.
Mm-hmm.
But what he did was he reassured me and told me, he said, well, you know football. He said, you know it, you know football. And you've been a head coach before, you've coached before, you can coach. I've seen you coach. And
Mm-hmm.
I trust you. Right. And I think that was probably the biggest thing because, with men, trust is a big factor with them. And so, okay. And so with that being said, I was like, okay, well, let's do it. So now here we are, our fourth season in. We're presently in the number one seed in our league. We're
Okay,
under.
but not just the number one seed. Y'all are out here dogging folks. Like, I'm talking the middle school, the JV middle school team is beating folks by like giving them a 50 piece per
Yeah.
game. Like,
Well, this year we got a really, really great offensive coordinator. Not that we didn't have one in the past, but we got a great offensive coordinator, and I think my husband's a little bit more vocal when it comes to the offense because normally he's a defensive player coach, and he normally doesn't have anything to do with the offense. So he's had a little bit more feedback with the offense and helping us all grow as coaches. And I think that's just, and then we got a lot of talent. I mean, we've got a lot of talented kids. I mean, I don't think,
listen,
you know it's going to be really tough to match up against us player for player. You're not going to be able to cover all of the players that we have. We are loaded from the rooter to the tutor when it comes to players. But there is one team in our city that is really, really good. They got about 4, 5 D1 players on the, I'm talking about these kids are middle school, and I guarantee they're going to be D1 players out of high school if they continue to develop the way that they are.
and
And
that's all I'm saying. Like,
they are
I would hate to see your team in high school.
they are going to be hard to beat, right? Well, I can't wait to see our kids develop. I mean, I think that's one of the most things that we like. Well, we're our fourth year, so the kids that were in our first year are now juniors, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're so excited about um, the number of kids that we still have playing, especially the ones that were we. Oh my God, I can't count the number of kids that we got where we got them in the 8th grade, and that was their first year playing, and they're still playing on a high school team today, right? Because we were able to develop them and get them ready and prepare them for high school football, right? A lot of kids can't do that, and a lot of kids aren't prepared for high school football because it's a totally different thing. Like even when we get kids from Pee Wee, um, to our level, it's a different level. You know, there's different levels to it, and there's different skills that you have to learn. You know, we teach our kids to prepare them for high school. We don't coach them for middle school level. We coach them so that they could be prepared for high school. And I think one of the biggest compliments, best compliments that I've heard was from one of the personal trainers. They were like, "Oh my God!" They've been to our practice, and then they've been to other practices of other middle schools, and then they compared them. But then they said that the kids that are from our program compared to other programs, when they get to the high school, there's just a huge difference in their skill level and the way that we make them practice fast. We make them, they're very intense. They're very disciplined. They're very knowledgeable of reading their keys. And and we teach a lots and lots of fundamentals. We are, no matter how good or bad we are, we're going to be fundamentally sound no matter what, because we want
Right.
to at least learn the fundamentals. So anyway, so from there, I saw a Facebook post from the only women's tackle football team here in the state of Kentucky, and they were looking for coaches. And so I reached out and I was like, "Look, I'm interested in coaching. What is the application process?" So she said, "Well, I'll give your information to the head coach." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So then they did had a like a informational meeting, and I just showed up to the meeting. And when I showed up to the meeting, I automatically got introduced as a coach. And without interviewing for the process or whatever. And so I thought that that was, just really, really huge. And just from there, I've been welcomed with open arms. The girls are so open to learning. Um,
Mhm.
um, I've even dragged my husband up here to practice, and he's kind of helped us out as well. Because he's my backbone as far as making
Right.
sure I'm the right thing and still pushing me to be the best that I can be. And so, yeah, so I'm just excited. So let me tell you about my team.
Yes,
So
please, 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 because I have questions.
yeah, so how about they've been around for like 14 years,
Right. You told
right?
me that. I was shocked.
Like shocked, like I had no idea, right? And so the owner is a black female. So let's talk about professional women's tackle football team that is black female owned.
Right.
Like the dudes that don't nobody talk about. Like we always talking about, ownership, because there's no black ownership in the NFL. Well,
None.
Vina got a little bit of ownership of the Miami Dolphins, and then
But not majority ownership. Well,
kind
now we
of,
do with
yeah,
Melanie Hobson.
with Melanie Hobson and Condoleezza Rice in Denver, right?
Right.
But she is the sole owner of this team. Now, she is a player. She's a center and she's cold blooded, right? So she's like, I don't want to coach. I still want to play. So
Wow.
to come and coach. And I became the first female position coach on this team. Now, the goal The goal is for this female, black owned professional women's tackle team to one day have a head female coach and all the position coaches to be all female. How about that?
That's awesome. So let's pause and back up because you talking real fast over here.
I know.
But I'm not skipping over nothing, okay? Because this episode about to be all about Terry. So let's talk about how preparation meets opportunity and how you were on this course of being a head coach. Because I remember our conversation. And I remember around the same, right before I got the call from our commissioner, it was like 2 weeks before then, and you got called to come to practice. But I just want people to understand how at the time both of us were like, oh, I'm ready for this. And we see Terry and I have conversations like it's like Pinky in the Brain, but on some real some real intelligent stuff, right? Like we're trying to take over the world and bring everybody with us.
Listen.
And so I just remember having this conversation about how both of us were looking for not necessarily new jobs full time, but we were looking to expand what we were already doing and the knowledge that we already possessed and using it to bring other women with us and help other women. So I just want that to marinate, and I really needed to say that out loud because I don't think we've ever really said it out loud how intentional we've been about what we do and how we do it and the preparation that it took for us to verbalize that and say, okay, now it's time for something else. Now it's time for something greater. And and so for you, 2 weeks, like it might not even been 2 weeks later. It may not even been a full week. I just remember having this conversation. It felt like the next time we spoke, you were telling me about how you got invited to practice, and then you called me on the way home and said you're a coach. And I was just like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah. I was blown away as well. Yeah, I was blown away as well. They was like, "Oh yeah, we want to coach," right? And so I talked to one of the veterans, and I was concerned because they were like filling me in. Well, this player may not like you. She might not talk to you. This player is this. This player is like this. And one of the veterans player went to them and was like, "Look, she legit. She's knowledgeable.
Mhm.
She knows what the
Yeah.
heck she's talking about. She know. I brought in a couple of things, implemented some things right off the bat. Like I watched their oh, they made it to the championship game last year, turned the ball over 7 times, but only lost by 1 point. Like, what does that tell you? Like, so they are a battle. And so the first thing in my first practice was tuck the ball. Let's protect the ball. Let's
Hmm.
protect the ball because we're not going to let that be the hindrance of us losing the game. The
Right.
so just little small things, and they've just loved the instruction that we've already started off by that I've already started off by giving. They didn't know like the number system for the gaps in the on the on the offense.
On the offense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, okay, so let's implement that. Like, what were y'all plays? So just little small little things. And I understand because I think the coaches before was because most of the women don't know the game. They were trying their best to just dumb it down so that they can just understand it enough to play the game. But I want them to learn it to where if somebody is watching us play or having a conversation with any of us, they can't tell it's a women's tackle football team. Because if I show you some video, they can hit.
They was hitting.
They not playing. When I tell you they not playing, they are not playing. And it's so fun to watch. Like even my husband, I'm not gonna lie, he is having a ball. Like he has no problem driving me up here because he is so intrigued.
Too
I guess
funny.
whole concept that there is an actual tackle women's football team, and that I'm having the opportunity to coach them. I mean, it's like the best thing. It's like the best thing ever, and that's all we. When I tell you that's all we talk about, that's all we talk about. It's either our team or this team, or well, what can we do? Well, what can I do? This, we're always talking about strategies or
Yeah.
or or I'm always in learning mode. Okay, well, I don't understand this. Okay, why are we down blocking here? And just little small little things that every day is a learning experience for me, right? And so I just absolutely, when I tell you I just absolutely love it, I don't know what to do. But to go back to what to your whole point is when I'm talking to my parents and why football as opposed to other sports. Okay. Football, I think it's because it's such a collision sport that
Yeah.
sets it apart from all the other sports. Because you can't be no punk playing football.
You cannot.
You can't be no punk because you getting ready to get hit or you getting ready to hit, right? And so
Uh-oh. I think she froze up again. Okay, there you are.
I don't know, we're closing out. But if you're tackling correctly, then it's not gonna hurt. Can you hear me now?
Yep,
Okay.
you're good.
But if you're tackling correctly, it really isn't gonna hurt really bad. Everybody thinks it's gonna hurt real bad. I mean, it hurts sometimes, but yes, not as bad. But I'm at that age. I ain't trying to get tackled. I ain't gonna lie.
Listen.
So we got lots of girls that that have had major injuries from the game. It could be a dangerous game. We have the CTE. With that's why you have to teach technique and make sure that younger players aren't dropping their head when they're tackling. That they always
Right.
keep their heads up. You just always got to be just mindful of the safety first of
Yeah.
the game. Um, but with that said, it teaches discipline. It teaches leadership. It teaches camaraderie. When I tell people that whether it's football or any other sport, you can tell the difference from people that has played a sport and not played a sport in corporate America
Yeah.
because they really don't have a good sense of teamwork. Um, and camaraderie. They really don't know how to work as a team. They really struggle. They struggle with helps you with communication because you have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to open up your mouth and communicate with your players. You don't want somebody getting hit or blindsided or getting hurt. So that communication factor has to be very important. Um, oh my God, just the you know what I think I'm gonna tell you the one thing that really got me to wanting to coach on this particular team. I'm looking at my team right now, and it's very diverse. We have
Mm,
a large number of black women, but we also have a large number of white women, and I think we have some that might be mixed or Hispanic, and so it's very diverse. But this is one of the things that as black women it just seems like we just don't get along
mm,
groups on most part, and we don't really nurture friendships really well.
yeah.
And so I really want to dispel that whole myth that women can't get along,
Hmm.
or,
How
you know,
about that?
as a group. That we can come together with a cause and do things together and make some things happen on a much larger scale because this is actually way more than just football for me, right? Um, Again, I wait to the day where we're playing or there's a women's football championship game and they play at Canton on the Hall of Fame field. I
Mhm.
cannot wait, and it's going to happen because I'm speaking it into existence right now where there's going to be two female owned teams with all female staff on both teams, and then we're going to have an all female crew on national TV playing tackle football,
Absolutely.
right? And the stands are going to be filled with men and women and children and everybody. And it's going to be diverse like anything else, and it's going to be jam packed like any other football,
Yes.
because it's going to get to that point. Now, I understand that the WNBA has been on. I mean, what has been 25 years, 30 years, I think, with the WNBA, and that really hasn't happened. Like, I don't understand how. I think they're starting to get the female crew with the commentating, but I still have yet to see them do just the all female everything, even in the WNBA. And so, I guess I would like to help set that standard across all the genres of women's sports. That okay, y'all don't want us to coach, you don't want us to do this, y'all keep having
Listen.
on us. So okay, we're gonna get our own stuff. So
Please let us get
we
her.
want to play football too. Of course, I think I talked in our we cannot play with men. We cannot play tackle football with men. It is, we physically just can't do it. So we have to have our own league. And
Right.
so from there, as women, we got to figure out how to get along. We got to come together. We got to play as a team. We got to win as a team. We got to lose as a team.
Right.
And but we have to develop more women that know the game, that can actually come out here and coach it and teach it, and be and instruct other women on how to play the game. And that's where we're really, really lacking, because women, again, if my husband didn't give me the opportunity to coach, I wouldn't have that opportunity right now. you know i
Do
I
you
just
feel like do you
I
feel
just got.
like do you feel like your husband giving you the opportunity, coach, led to you being able to coach the women's team?
Absolutely, because if I didn't gain the confidence of coaching at the middle school level, there's no way that I would have felt confident enough to had reached out and about coaching football,
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't a football coach, right?
Yeah.
I'm 3 years, 3 years. This is my fourth season, right? So 4 years in, and I still feel like I'm learning. So I still, even now, I still feel, a little self conscious about some things. Um, but I'm a student of the game, so I'll go home and I'll Google whatever I need to learn, and to reinforce what I thought I knew, or what I don't think I knew, and see if I'm right about stuff. I have no shame in my game with that.
Right.
My pride is totally out the door when it comes to what I know and what I don't know, because I want to make sure that I'm the absolute best coach that I can. And there are some women like Coach Locust and Coach King. They both came out of this league as players,
Yeah.
right? And so and I'm hoping that maybe um that will encourage some other women to want to get into coaching as they start getting older. And I mean, we got girls in their 30s and 40s that are playing football. That's unheard of in football. What I mean? They're done.
Yeah.
you know um Tom Brady is 45 and he's considered a dinosaur, right? So,
Listen,
but my center is 50 years old. My center
she's
is
how old?
50,
50?
50, and she's still killing it,
Out there cracking heads.
still cracking the heads, right? And so with that said, as they start to retire, I'm really hoping that, again, they'll take over as coaches, either
Mm-hmm.
this team or on another team, or decide to go on and pursue football on a whole nother level, whether
Yeah.
it's NFL or college or whatever. Like, even right now, I think there's only a handful of women that are coaching in the college level. And
Right.
they're definitely not in none of the Power 5 schools. They're all in really small junior college, D2, that type of level, D3 levels. Um, they might be some position coaches in that area, but that's a hand. It's only a handful of them, right? But just the life lessons that I think, because it's rare. I feel like football could be a great platform for us to start re um reiterating the fact that we got to figure out how to why can't women get along. My husband's biggest deal is uh it's so funny. I think he's being sexist about it, but he's like, I don't understand it. Women don't get along with women, women don't get along with men, but y'all always say that men are the problem. But there's some truth to that, to what he's saying, because I mean, it really is true. We're always, I mean, we're always bickering. We don't get along. We're always, somebody's always jealous or hating, or
Yeah.
support each other like we really should. We always think that, because I'm a big proponent of, if I see my sister doing something, I'ma celebrate you, girl. I'm a big. I ain't never been no cheerleader, but I am the biggest cheerleader to my friends, because and I don't expect them to be that way to me, but I just feel like somewhere, somehow, we got to set that new precedence uh,
Yeah, we do.
for us to be able to get to that level, and to get to that state. That makes sense, girl. What time is it?
9:35, girl. Show be going fast, fast,
Very
fast.
fast. Well, everybody's starting to cut out, so I might try to get the owner on here real quick.
Okay,
So
yeah.
go ahead and chime in on what I said, boo.
Yeah, so I think it's really important to, I mean, you brought up so many like key points. This is why I wanted to switch up the educational moment because I knew you were going to drop some gems. But I think it's really important to look at how it's not like we don't operate in
I
isolation.
got
We don't succeed in isolation either. So the idea of being self-made is a farce. It's not real because you really can't get, at some point you're given opportunities, you're given chances to do things, you're given chances, even if you feel like, oh, I had to prove myself. Well, somebody opened up a door, somebody gave you something, even if it was just the tools and the equipment and the knowledge and the wisdom that you needed to succeed. That didn't just come to you. You didn't wake up one morning and just, you were just like, ooh, like, come on now.
facts.
But I want us to get out of the habit of thinking that way. Like, I want us to know and believe and understand and appreciate we don't have to have a struggle story. Like, can we get beyond the point where everything from, especially in the Black community, is about, oh, we struggle to get here? That ain't cute anymore. Like, I
Right.
don't want to hear that anymore. I want to hear how we did have someone stick out their hand and say, take my hand and come with me.
And pull
that's
each other
that's
up.
not
Let me,
that's
girl.
not the
I think I'm
handout
down
that you
top. Let
think
me
it
pull
is.
you up. Yes.
Yeah. So we look at that as a handout, and it's really just a handout to help. It's a handout to uplift. And I want to change the narrative, and I feel like that's a lot of what you and I try to do on a consistent basis. And it's not just talk for us, it is our lifestyle that we do try to, and we not even try, but on a consistent basis, we're reaching out to lift up. And I'm so glad that you brought that up as a main point in what you were saying, because it is true. Like, we do need to have that helping hand. And so to hear how there were women that helped you, but also there have been men that have helped you. I remember the first person that gave me a coaching position was a man with football, and even though it didn't work out not because I didn't have the head coach's support. The head coach didn't have support.
Right.
And like, decisions were being made that were jeopardizing player safety and their confidence and not putting education first.
Yeah.
And that's when I have to tap out. On
Yeah.
top of consistently being disrespected on the field in
Mm,
front of young men.
yeah.
That's not something that and it's not like I was getting
Right.
paid. I was out there volunteering,
Right.
and so for me, it was, let me step aside and let you coach football because you don't think women have any place on a football field.
Well,
But I
I
had to turn that around and make sure that these young men knew that I wasn't leaving because I just quit or anything like that. So it became a moment where I had to educate them. And I was so pleased that they were as angry and baffled as I was. These are young men. Like, these are really young men. These are middle school boys. Um and but I say that to say that there is a place and a space for us women, not just in athletics, but in football. I love football. I have watched my Eagles Super Bowl game,
okay, 5-0.
right? The only undefeated team in NFL.
Oh dang, we got y'all this weekend too, don't we?
We do.
Uh,
We
my
do.
my daughter's going to that game.
See, I wanted to go so bad,
I
but
think Dak, I think Dak's supposed to be coming back, but I think if Dak come back, we're gonna lose. I'm dead wrong for saying that.
wait a minute.
Oh no.
I feel bad for Dak because him and Zeke, they can't stay uninjured. They always tweaking,
So
turning, twisting something.
and I think it's the curse of the contract. It just seems like that once they get their money, everything just goes downhill from there. So I don't know. Either that or, I mean, are they, girl? I'm just saying. Just seem like once they get their money, they done because they didn't got their money, right? So are you really injured? Or,
And it
or
almost seems
are you
like
hurt or
when
are you injured? Because you
right.
can play through some things. I remember playing ball with two torn ACLs, playing basketball with two torn ACLs.
Yeah, but you different though. You
I
just
mean, I
different.
know I'm built different, but still,
you
as a woman, our
you
our
you different.
our tolerance for pain is a little bit, is a little bit different too. These men wouldn't be able to handle no babies coming out of them and stuff like that, right? Or cramps or all the stuff we have to deal with, right? They wouldn't be able to handle that. But you know, and, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens this weekend. It'll be fun. Cause I don't never talk crap because Cowboys always let me down. But that's my team, and I'm
You
ride or
gonna ride
die.
for it.
They
So
still my ride or die.
let's let's talk about riding for your team. Okay. Let's talk about riding for your team. Let's talk about Deion Sanders. Okay. So let
Man,
me
let me interject real quick. Let me tell you something. What was his quote, girl? Because his quote was the bomb. He said, "Don't let my confidence." What he
I'm trying to find
he
that.
said, "Don't let my confidence do something about your insecurities."
Yeah, like basically
Oh my
saying
God,
I know who I am and
I
I'm gonna
know
be
who I
who I am.
and just because I'm confident in who I am, don't be bringing your insecurities over here because you're insecure with who you are.
Right.
Yes,
And
powerful, powerful. I gotta get. As soon as I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna post it on my. I'll post it on my page because I love it. I'm putting my stories because it was so true. Because and I think that sometimes I've had coworkers tell me that I was intimidating, or I've had people tell me that I was intimidated because I am an alpha female. I do have a type A personality. I do come across like, I don't care, and I feel like I'm the ish and all that type of stuff because I do feel like that. I mean, if I don't feel like that about me, who else is gonna feel that way? Everybody can't coach football. Most females can't. Most females can't coach football.
we lost her again. She's frozen. I hope she's not mad at how the picture that it froze on. But I think that a lot of times people do get confidence confused with arrogance. And I remember
Yeah.
I was in a situation where this person constantly, um, and it was before we broke up, before our relationship ended, was telling me that um, I'm a know-it-all. I wasn't a know-it-all. I knew a lot. There's a difference. There's a difference in being a know-it-all versus having information and being able to respond to things and having education. I am also a researcher by
Me
nature
too.
and by trade. Like my I have a master's degree and my focus was in sociology of sport. That is a highly intense research field. Like
Yes.
it is like you are literally researching people and situations in society for your degree. I had to learn a lot. I had to, and part of it was like it made me highly sensitive in
Hmm.
certain situations.
Hmm.
But I think when people don't understand something, they become intimidated by it and they have to downplay it, degrade it, and defame it, you know, rather than uplifting it, cheering it on, and supporting it. And I think that is kind of human nature, unfortunately. In some ways it's and in some people it's their that's the product of their own environment. And so when I heard about the Eddie Robinson Deion Sanders situation, now let me just state that I am a huge Deion Sanders fan.
Me
I've
too.
been a huge Deion Sanders fan from the moment I saw him playing football.
Yes.
I remember the first time I saw him playing at Florida State, and I was like, "Who? What?" And I was young. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Like I was
Yes.
young,
Yes.
but I knew talent,
I did not
and I
know.
was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yes. Because he came to the scene with and was just on a whole nother level than everybody else. And like today is actually the 30th anniversary of him playing in a baseball game and a football game
And a
on
football
the same
game
day.
on the same day. Two, not just two different sports, but
Fresh.
professionally.
Yes. And I didn't realize until I had researched it recently, I think after he got to Jackson State, that had no idea he played 9 years, both of them.
Yes, they don't talk
And
about it. We
talk about
always talk about Bo Jackson being the dual sport athlete.
yes.
And people really forget about Deion Sanders and how amazing of an athlete he was. But what I love the most is how he could have gone. Let's talk about this. He had opportunity. He was prepared to coach. He had opportunities. People were talking about Deion Sanders at other schools. He chose to go to Jackson State and HBCU.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that is what the world needed, it's not just about HBCU athletics, but I want everybody to go online and just do a search for Deion Sanders Jackson State and watch his videos. Watch his pregame and
Quarterback.
postgame interviews. Watch, hey quarterback, what's up? What up?
Accidentally.
So how about my quarterback played basketball with my daughter
Are you serious?
at Bryan Station? How about
All
that?
right, put her on, put her on, put her on, put her on. Introduce your quarterback.
What is it?
This is my podcast.
Oh, okay. Hey, y'all.
Hey, all right. So tell us who you are, where you're from, how long you've been playing with the team.
My name's Olivia Wong. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky. I've been playing for the team for 2 years. This is my second year. So, and I play QB.
Awesome.
That's my quarterback.
Yes,
That's my quarterback.
Let's go.
let's go.
I want a them. Anyway, but anyway,
um,
that's good stuff. But I didn't mean to interject. But I love that you brought him up because again, he even today he made a comment about. He says, "Look how many." He says all the drama, whatever that come up. He said that game was sold out.
mhm.
That game at Alabama State was sold out. And then he made the comment today. He says, "Go see since I've been at Jackson State. Go see if the enrollments at HBUs are up." He says,
Yeah.
"I'm trying to get us on TV every Saturday. You know, I'm trying to get HBCUs up." And so then when Coach Robinson was like he's not SWAC, he took that personal.
Yes, and Dion's response was this. He said he was also asked if the ASU's coaches' comments served as motivation, to which he had a pretty epic response. I don't need nobody to motivate me, dog, said the Pro Football Hall of Famer. My mama working two jobs to make ends see each other was motivation. Me being a great father when one of my fathers was a drug addict and my other father was an alcoholic was my motivation. Seeing no one really come out of Fort Myers, Florida, that was my motivation. This, oh baby, you got to get in line. I wake up motivated.
Right.
Um,
I just don't understand how people are not inspired by him. And then all three of his kids are at Jackson State. Like you talking about a family thing. And then I think his oldest son like does all his videos. I think
Mm-hmm.
what I'm missing is the oldest daughter. I don't know where she's at. But
I'm trying to figure out where his kids are, but all his kids are doing well.
yes, right, because he's got five.
5.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really trying to find the quote um where he said basically I'm gonna have to paraphrase it. So give me a second. I'm still looking for it, but he he said what did he say? I know who I am. I know who I am, and I'm a whole bunch of things that people want to be.
Want to be, yes. Because even he talks about, everybody think he's like the money. I already got the money. I don't need the fame. I'm already famous. I don't need
Mm-hmm.
else that everybody else is looking for as a coach. I'm doing this because I want to be able to bring HBCUs up. He didn't go to an HBCU, but again, you don't know where he was at. I remember I told you I don't think I really got educated. I knew my family went to Alabama State, but they never talked about it being an HBCU
Mm-hmm.
and the difference between going to a PIL and an HBCU. They never talked about that. And
I
so,
mean, I went to Hampton. And so for me, the experience was exactly what I needed because I grew up in predominantly white
hey,
neighborhoods and
okay,
situations.
let,
Hey, is that the head?
yeah, no, this is the female black owner of
Yes.
football team.
Wait a minute.
Them
Hey,
Frank.
don't try to duck off. Where you going, girl? Get back on this camera. She trying to duck off. All right. Introduce yourself. Tell the people how tell us your story. Tell us how you got started. Tell us why. Like, what's your why? Why did
What's my
you could have
why?
been anything and you decided to own the only women's tackle pro tackle football team in the state of Kentucky? Like, why?
Because I wanted to offer women the opportunity to change the female stereotype one snap at a time.
Ooh,
Woo! How about that?
wait a minute. She said one snap at a time. Come on now.
Come on now. Ain't that powerful?
That's awesome.
So now you know why I had to be a part of it.
So, coach, listen, we're gonna have to get you coach, owner, player. I with you all of the things.
Yeah, she's gonna have to have a whole episode by herself.
That's what I'm saying. We need to schedule Terry, please work with her.
I will.
Let's get her scheduled for her own episode as soon as possible.
Okay.
Because this is a story that needs to be elevated and
Yes.
celebrated, and we're
Yes.
gonna be the ones to do that.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate it.
So I guess you won't know which high school you're at.
Awesome.
All right, girl.
Well,
It is
look,
gone. We got
it's
left.
we literally have 6 minutes left,
Yeah.
and so it was awesome that you were actually out on the field today, so that we get to see you in your element. I'm so proud of you. I'm so excited for you. I think this is awesome, and I just want to thank you for dropping the gems that you did tonight, because you hit the nail on the head in so many different situations, and so I can't wait to follow up with the team owner and hear her story, and hear the fact that she said she wants to change the stereotype of women
One
one
step
snap
back.
at a time. To me, is so powerful. So we definitely need to get her scheduled. Even if we could do it next week or whatever, we've got to get her on as soon as possible so she could share her story. But I hope you all enjoyed tonight's episode. I hope that you enjoyed listening to Terry's story and understanding what happens when preparation meets opportunity and how it can change the course of your life. And just remember, in the words of our beloved Primetime, you are a whole lot of things. And you are a whole lot of things that a lot of people want to be. But as long as you know who you are, you don't ever have to worry about someone saying what you aren't. That's tonight's episode. Thank you all so much for joining us. Coach, drive safely. Love you bunches. We will catch up on your ride home. I know you already know. I already know I'm gonna get a call on the way home. So,
I'm about to die, so we're gonna have to go.
Yes. All right. So thank you all so much.